Hi everyone, Adele here from Kingdom Initiatives and the All Shall Prosper movement. Up until now, for the last few podcasts, we have been looking at what it takes to lead a great company from a godly perspective and then from a practical leadership perspective. Now, this can be your own business, or it could be a business that you're a leader in. It could also be that you're not a leader, but these are just great principles that help you to drive the business forward and add the most value. Now, when we started this particular flow, I worked through a very particular order of things. We started off with casting vision and getting your team to buy into the vision of the business, knowing that it had a greater purpose and it wasn't all about profit, but it was about purpose, getting them to buy into that and be excited about it. When people are excited about a vision, they contribute so much better. Then we moved on to values. How do we operate in this business? How do we treat each other? How do we treat our clients? What are the values that we have as the foundational framework for our business? We then moved on to looking at people's strengths, and we said, how can we best place them and allocate roles according to strengths so that everyone can be a best player, a most valuable player on the field? We then looked at coaching and mentoring. So once we've got them in the right positions and we've got them doing the right things according to their strengths, how do I now develop them, coach them, mentor them, guide them in the practical skills that they need in order to flourish and add the most value in those roles? We then moved on to how to hold people accountable. So once someone has proven competent, how do I hold them accountable when they're not delivering the agreed deliverables and measurables that we put into place when we set this job in place and they agreed to those deliverables? So today I'd like to have a look at something that is now on the swing side of that, as opposed to holding people accountable and hoping that they deliver better. On the swing side of that, how do we show people that they are valued when they are delivering according to our expectations, and even better when they are going above and beyond? So when someone is proving competent, delivering according to what the job requires, how do we show them that we value it, we value them, and we really appreciate what they're doing? Now, most of you will say to me, Adele, we pay them a salary. Yes, this is true. But let me tell you what salary is. Salary is a transaction for time to sit in that business and do what they do. And yes, it is a type of reward for what they do, but salary doesn't necessarily make everybody feel valued. Now, this feeling of value is so important. There is a group called the Gallup Institute, and they did a research in the States about 10 years ago, and they measured the lack of appreciation and the impact of it. So let's just take a step back. When someone leaves an organization, say now it's a bookkeeper, they don't leave the organization and become an astronaut. They go to another organization and they are a bookkeeper. So they're not leaving the job, they're not leaving the profession, they're leaving the business and they're leaving the leader. That's what they're doing. They're not changing their job. They're not changing what they do. A bookkeeper is a bookkeeper, moves from one company to another. They continue being a bookkeeper. So why do they move? Why do they leave? Well, when the Gallup Institute did the research, they discovered that one of the main reasons why people leave an organization is because they do not feel valued and appreciated. Now, you and I know people need to feel valued and appreciated. We know the theory of this. We know the thought behind it. And I think you and I, as people, know this because we need it as well. We need to feel valued and appreciated. The true test was when they started to measure this in financial impact to the economy. So this was about 10 years ago. It was done in the States. And the research that was done on the exit interviews, so when people looked at, or when the Gallup Institute looked at the exit interviews, any exit reason that was related to a lack of appreciation as the resulting in that person leaving, they said, right, let's quantify this. So, okay, you've lost the person. Now you need to recruit another person. They recruited another person. There was a cost with that. There was a cost for downtime for when that person was not in that role. There was a cost for someone else to step in and fulfill that role while they were still recruiting. There was a cost to training that person and getting them to the point where they were fully functional. There was a cost to a lack of them being able to fulfill the full responsibility while they were still learning. So the Gallup Institute did this research, and they came to a cost of what it costs the organization to replace the person, train up a new person, and get them to the point where the previous person was at when it came to contribution to the business. Now, you are going to be astounded at the figure when I mention it to you. And this was 10 years ago. At that time, the Gallup Institute quantified a lack of appreciation and the cost to the US economy at $2.6 billion US dollars a year, annually. I'm just blown away by that figure. That means that the US economy could have saved $2.6 billion 10 years ago, year on year, if the leaders just knew how to show appreciation and make someone feel valued, to show them that they mean something to the business and they truly are a valuable asset. Now, like I said earlier, salary is not that. Yes, we need to pay salary, but salary is not appreciation. In the minds of your team members, they're arriving every day, they're doing their job, that's what they get paid for. This feeling of being appreciated and valued is something very different. And we as leaders need to understand the human wiring to understand the value of this. So Gallup Institute then approached a gentleman that many of you might have heard of. His name is Gary Chapman, and he is the founder of the concept and thought, the research and application of that in the psychological world, the love languages. So the love languages, you will, most of you will know from your church spaces, from your communities, a lot of teaching happens around the love languages. Now, obviously, people are the same, whether you're a person in the workplace or outside of the workplace, you're still the same person and you still have the same drivers. So a person in the personal space, Gary Chapman talks about the love languages, and that same person goes into the workplace. We obviously can't call it the love languages in the workplace, so we call it languages of appreciation. Now, what the Gallup Institute and Gary Chapman did was they started to teach leaders the languages of appreciation, which are the same as the languages of love, right? The love languages. And they started to measure this, and they found a remarkable increase in the retention of top talent in businesses that applied the languages of appreciation. So today we're going to unpack these languages, and we're going to equip you with how to apply them, how to work with them, and how to equip your team to be even better because of them. So there are 5 languages of appreciation. There are 5. They are independent of each other, but you will find that you, as well as the members of your team, are a combination of usually 2 top ones. So we like all of them. I mean, everybody likes being appreciated in all ways, but we will find that there are 2 that are our predominant languages of appreciation. So Gary Chapman talks about the appreciation tank, that all of us have an appreciation tank that is empty at the beginning of every day. And when we engage with our family and when we engage with our work colleagues, when we feel appreciated, this appreciation tank fills up. When it is empty and constantly empty, we want to move to a space where we can fill it. And that is why people leave workplaces, because this tank is constantly empty. You need to understand your language of appreciation as well as your team, because when you understand your language, you will understand the language in which you operate. You naturally show appreciation in the language that you feel appreciated in. So that is the normal default for humankind, is to show appreciation in the language that you feel appreciated. But what if your team members got a different language? And you're showing them appreciation in your language of appreciation, but they're not interpreting it as appreciation because that's not their language of appreciation. The art here is to be able to not show appreciation in your language, but to know what their language is so that you can show them appreciation in their language. That is the skill. I can be saying thank you in French, but you're German and you don't know French. I can speak till I'm blue in the face. You will not have a clue what I'm saying. It's exactly the same with languages of appreciation. So you may think you're showing appreciation and be wondering, why do my people still feel unappreciated and undervalued? I'm doing my best. I'm paying them a salary and I'm showing them appreciation, but you might be showing them appreciation in your language. So what are these 5 languages? The first one is words. Now there's 2 versions of this. Words of affirmation is the one that Gary Chapman speaks most about. This is when someone, let's take yourself as now the person receiving this, someone says to you, thank you so much. You are amazing. What you did was so valuable. We appreciate you. Good job. And they are just lavishing words of affirmation on you. So some people love words of affirmation, and words of affirmation is what fills their appreciation tank. Now there's another version of words, and that's words of conversation. This is where people love to connect through conversation, but it's not necessarily affirmation. So they like to have conversation with people, they connect and they feel valued when people talk with them, but it doesn't have to be affirmation, it's conversation. So the first one is words of affirmation or words of conversation. The second one is quality time. Quality time is not when you're talking to each other, it's when you're spending time in each other's presence. You don't necessarily need to be talking, but just being with each other is what makes you feel appreciated. Someone taking time to be present, not distracted, around you and spending time with you, undistracted, present in the moment, and dedicated time with you. So if you're someone that feels appreciated when someone does that, one of your love languages then is quality time. The next one is acts of service. So acts of service is when somebody does something for you and that makes you feel appreciated. They will help you with a project. They don't have to, they're not being paid to, they're doing this out of their own free will, and they come and they help you. They do something for you. In a home environment, you are ill and people arrive with food. They are showing acts of service to help you, and that makes you feel valued. So, words of affirmation or words of conversation. The second one, quality time. Third one, acts of service. The fourth one is gifts. So, the thing with gifts is that they are personalized. They are not like Oprah. Everybody gets one and you all get the same one, right? But this is when gifts are given, but they are so unique that it shows you that that person knows you. So if someone was buying chocolates for you, they wouldn't just buy a chocolate. They would know what your favorite chocolate is and they would buy you that one. So it's personalized gifts. They know you so well that they knew what to get you because it would make your heart happy. That's the thing with gifts, is receiving a gift, but it's a personalized gift. And if you've got gifts as one of your languages of appreciation, that means that you love it when people give you a gift that shows you that they know you. Then the last one is physical touch. And clearly in the workplace, this has absolute limitations on this one. But you will find that someone, and maybe this is you like to shake hands, you like to high five, you like to give side hugs. You feel appreciated when someone makes physical contact with you. They give you a hug when they see you to say hello. And that could be your language. We have to obviously be careful with this language in the workplace, but there's a place for the high fives and the handshakes and the congratulatory hugs. There's a place for that. So now I've given you the 5. Let's quickly recap those. We've got, first of all, words, either of affirmation or conversation. The second one is quality time. Third one, acts of service. Fourth one, gifts. Fifth one, physical touch. So the first thing to do is to take that list and go, all right, what are my top 2? What are my top 2 languages that make me feel appreciated? So have a think and write those two down. All right, now, here's the key. If you are a leader, or if you're trying to figure out your family, you might be using this for both work and home, right? I want you to write down the names of everyone in your leadership team first. So if you are on a leadership team, I want you to write down all the names of your leadership team. Then underneath that, give it a little space, and then underneath that, I want you to write down the names of the team that you lead, the team that reports into you. Now I want you to go back to these languages of appreciation, and I want you to observe all of the people that you have written down. What's going to happen by default? They are going to show appreciation in their language. They're not going to show you appreciation in your language because they haven't been taught this, right? They're going to show appreciation in their language. When they're showing appreciation, look for how they show appreciation. There will be a trend. There will be a pattern. They will either lavish people with words of affirmation. They will talk to them endlessly. Or they will spend quality time with people, try and spend more time with them. Or they will do things for people. Or they will give them gifts. Or they'll make physical contact. Observe the people around you over the next week and try and figure out what their languages are. So now you know yours. You're trying to figure out theirs. Once you've figured out theirs, here is the important thing. This is about honoring someone to the highest degree. We know that God values when we show appreciation to people and we make them feel valued. What we're doing spiritually is we're actually speaking into their identity, making them feel whole and complete as a human being. And that is a calling from God on your leadership ability, is to call out the greatness in them by speaking to their identity and making them feel whole and valued. On the swing side, business-wise, you're going to get a whole lot more out of them when you do this. And they're even going to be a better player on the team. But here is the key. Here's everything. This is what we were building up to. When you have figured out their language of appreciation, you need to show them appreciation in their language, not in yours. You need to show them appreciation in the language that is not yours, but theirs. This is going to have to be very intentional. You're going to have a page up, like we said, with the profiles, the strengths profiles, and next to that, you're going to have a page for these languages. If you can operate between these 2 points of understanding someone's strengths, like we covered a couple of weeks ago in the podcast, and now showing appreciation in the language that means something to them, the language that they feel appreciated in, you're going to be topping up that appreciation tank on a daily basis. It needs to be genuine, and you can't miss an opportunity. So it has to be genuine, has to be from your heart. You are valuing people. You are showing them their value. You're making them feel like they are whole and they are contributing. This speaks to so much more than just a performance issue. This speaks to someone's identity. It speaks to who God made them to be, and to show them that someone in this world sees them, values them, and appreciates them. And that is your role as a leader. So there's your task for this coming week. Is try and figure out, now that you know your language, try and figure out the languages of the people around you. And you could even extend that list, and underneath those 2 categories, the first one was the leaders that you lead alongside your leadership team. And then the second one was the people that you lead. Maybe just add another few names at the bottom there and write down your immediate family. And do the same for your immediate family. You will be surprised at how your world changes when you start to show people appreciation, and how they will value you back when you start to do that. All the best with showing appreciation, building up your team, and creating a sustainable, beautiful, godly environment as you start to speak into and show people the value that they have. And by doing that, you're an extension of the Lord himself, as he has woven them together, put them together, and it's our job to be his hands and feet, and in this case, his mouth, to speak and show the value that you see in them, because God's made them and you see their value. All the best. Build great businesses. Why? Because great businesses honor God. And when those are Christian businesses and people look at our businesses as examples of great businesses, it honors God in every way.